Alright, so welcome to my first YouTube video. In this video I'm gonna be finishing a painting I'm doing of my wife. This is the second color layer I am currently painting, and I'll talk a bit about the technique I used for this painting and some general stuff. First of all, the microphone is of a headset, so the quality is not great, but I will probably invest in a cheap but better quality microphone soon as I keep doing these YouTube videos. Basically, I made this painting as a kind of a technique experiment where I first made a raw umber underdrawing on a gray, kind of light middle tone background. I had toned the canvas panel I was painting on beforehand, so it was dry brushed raw umber on this gray ground. And about this approach, I like the dry brushed drawing because when applied correctly it still allows you to erase with a kneaded eraser, kind of like you're doing a charcoal drawing. Of course, you don't have to go through the hassle of making a drawing and then transferring or charcoal moving around or anything like that. It's kind of hard to make a very accurate underdrawing charcoal on canvas because the canvas is usually quite textured and it will go into the grain of the canvas and result in a very spotty finish. Now the drawing is obviously not going to be as accurate as a graphite drawing and then transferring that, but I think it's a good kind of in-between solution between mass drawing and this graphite approach, which means that I can just kind of start painting and then proceed from there. Also, the benefit is that raw umber dries very quickly, so if I want to continue with this painting, the very next day will be already, well, not fully dry, but dry enough to paint over. Probably I'll make a demonstration about this and some other ways of approaching a painting later. Then the second layer for this painting was just a color layer, and this was done with using some medium and using small brushes to work the forms and colors of the painting to a kind of a rough statement. In places I tried to refine it further, but in places where I felt it was gonna need another layer anyway, I didn't really take that much care because I knew I was coming back later. So the point of this layer was to kind of establish the general image without the highest lights and the darkest darks, so I can later come and make the painting work better with that. Also, it helps to assess the whole image, since I was not making a color study or composition study for this image beforehand. Then we come to the layer I'm actually painting here in the time-lapse, and that's the finishing layer. The finishing layer here on this particular painting meant that I was going through the whole painting on a second pass of color. I started with this pass with a couch or couche, I guess, as the French would say it, because that's where it comes from, which basically means that kind of a diluted color, a glaze one could say, and painting over that. That helps unify the layer that is applied. This is described as a process in Harold Speed's book, and that's a great book to have, I think, as an oil painter. I mean, books can be fairly dry to read when they're strictly about painting technique, and they can have a lot of extra stuff in there. The writers were very poetic about many things, but once you kind of dive in and try to really understand what they're saying, they're really helpful. So in this painting I was using small brushes and tried to refine the areas to a finish area by area, so I can take the whole painting to a nice loose finish, basically one day. This is actually a fairly quick finish for a painting, and it was mostly because I was kind of experimenting with this technique instead of trying to make a gallery piece or something like that. This footage is 4.5 hours of time-lapse from one day. Also, this project was, of course, a way of testing filming for YouTube and seeing how it goes. Lessons for the future: placing the camera on the other side so I don't get glare from the window, as we see in this whole filmed footage. Basically, the color seems kind of washed out. Also, in the future I will likely use my color checker card, which I purchased for my photographs of my paintings, and that should also help with the video footage. About this technique in general, I don't think it maybe was my favorite way of approaching a painting. It felt somewhat convenient, and I don't think I used it to its full potential. I mean, it's only the first time I did this manner of painting. I could have, for example, applied a lot more texture in the first paint layer, where I could have really had fun with that, but I didn't really make use of that, and I feel the whole painting was a little bit too thin. I find it looks maybe a bit bland at the end, so maybe I'm not the happiest with this painting, but I'm happy I made it because it's a portrait of my wife, and it's also a memory of our summer trip together. I think I should give this technique another go in the future, and we'll see how it goes then, but maybe I'll use a more professional reference. This was just a camera phone shot, so actually use this technique to its full potential. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos, hopefully with a better quality. I'm still learning this thing, and see you on the next one.